Well, good evening, Representative McHenry. I think one of the things that you pointed out in the little speech you gave over there was talking about the allocation of resources, the critical resources that are necessary for any candidate to win. Certainly the DCCC reallocating some of the resources out of Representative Markey's race, and also the National Republican Congressional Committee doing likewise and following suit and reallocating some of their money to the tune of about $700,000 according to roll call from the 4th Congressional District to the 3rd Congressional District. Can you talk about, with a month to go, what those kind of reallocations mean and where that money might be going as you just talked about?
Well, I think when the DCCC pulls money away from the Markey race to reallocate it to a New York congressional race, it shows that they don't see Markey as having a good opportunity to get reelected. And I think they also see that Cory Gardner's running a great campaign. And he has been running a great campaign and just went up this week with his first ad buy. And I think what you see here in Colorado with the movement away from defending Markey to defending Salazar, and the move from funding Gardner, which he's doing very well, and also helping Scott Tipton defeat Salazar, I think we're seeing in those two congressional elections a real shift to the Republicans in this final month. Look, we've got 3 weeks to go, and we've got a great opportunity to pick up 2 congressional seats, 3 congressional seats even, here in Colorado. And so we've got some of the most highly targeted races in the nation just here in this state. And so both Tipton and Gardner are doing a great job, and it shows that the national Democrats are pulling money out of the Markey race because in the end they look at the polls and they realize that she's going to have a heck of a time trying to get back.
What do you make of the polls? Speaking of those, last couple days, certainly in the Senate race here, and also in Representative Markey's race, there have been a couple polls that the Democrats have latched onto as sort of saying maybe the tide is turning or there's some momentum shift. What do you make of those kind of polls coming out?
I think they're grasping at straws, and with their ship sinking, they're trying to save every member that they can, and they're trying to make some very difficult decisions because they have so many challenging races. If you look at Michael Barone's analysis, 100 races, 100 campaigns for the House. If you see what's happening in the Senate races, they're going to have a heck of a time trying to defeat Ken Buck. And so they'll have a few polls here and there, but it will only be determined by Election Day. And in 26 days, we'll know for certain whether these polls are right. And conservatives have to do everything they can to get the vote out and to convince these final undecideds. And I think we're going to have dozens of races decided nationally by 2 percentage points or less.
Shifting gears a little bit from 4 weeks out to November 3rd, assuming that the returns are good for Republicans, that they pick up the necessary seats to regain control of the House. Can you talk a little bit or elaborate on what the pledge means and what sort of, from the perspective of House leadership, you got a batch of incoming freshman House members, and how important it will be for Republicans in the House, especially, to really sort of stick to that pledge, given some of the concerns of the Tea Party and everything else. Looking back over the last decade and concerns about Republicans' own responsibility for some spending issues.
Well, first and foremost, Republicans have to honor their word. We have to move to a balanced budget. We have to extend the current tax regime and not raise taxes. We're going to have to make some hard choices to balance this budget and get this economy rolling again. The American people have rejected the liberal policies of this administration and Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid. Now we have an opportunity to show what conservative ideas can do to rebound and bring this economy back. The key thing is that we honor our commitment in the pledge, that we cast the votes necessary to enact change. And the American people understand that the House, legislation simply doesn't go through the House. It has to go through the Senate and get the President's approval as well. But we have to honor our words in the House of Representatives and act in a conservative fashion. And that means spending. That means spending less. It means taxation. It means taxing less. It means pro-growth policies for job creation. These are the vital centers of the pledge. And I think you'll see that out of the House of Representatives. And it's our obligation on November 3rd, if the American people put Republicans in charge, that we put forward a conservative agenda and actually fight for the things that the American people care about.
Well, and the final question, assuming that the Republicans are successful, you'll have at least 2, possibly 3 new Republican members of Congress from the state of Colorado. Can you talk a little bit, Ryan Frazier is only a little hair over 30 years old. You were young when you were elected to office. What is it like for a young member of Congress, and what can 2 or 3 of the, Scott Tipton, Cory Gardner, who isn't that much older, and Ryan Frazier expect as a freshman member of Congress? What can they expect in the coming months?
Well, the key thing with young members of Congress is they can put in the time necessary. They can put in the energy necessary to master the legislative process. And I think we've got 3 candidates here with Gardner, Tipton, and Frazier that have good experience to come to Congress. They've got the right experience to manage the legislative process with 2 state reps in that group. And I think that gives them a strong baseline of action and to hit the ground running. It is a challenge being a new member of Congress. It always is. But you learn quickly, and I think they have the capacity to do good things very quickly in Washington.
Thank you, Representative McHenry. I appreciate it.